Hi guys, KP this side. Hope all of you are doing good. This is vlog number 57 in Decoding Equity Markets with KP series. Last 1 week, not so great for the markets. We have seen more of downside in the markets, with sentiments being a little on negative side. And a lot of things were dependent on what Fed is going to speak in its commentary on Friday, and thankfully the commentary was neutral, kind of the one which we expected. And post that, the US markets have revived in the Friday closing, which actually leaves us on the weekend with a positive mindset. Otherwise, if you see, the overall week was a mix of ups and downs, with more so pressure on the indices, both for Indian indices and for US indices. In fact, on Thursday, the US Dow Jones has closed below 34,200, which was actually pushing us back into that negative trajectory. But on Friday, thankfully, the closing has been given above 34,300, which is actually a good sign, because the markets are showing some kind of resilience, and they are taking that crucial support in the range of 34,200 to 34,300. This is what I'm telling for Dow Jones. Even the Indian markets on Friday were under a lot of pressure, and the Friday closing for Nifty was around 19,266. And I'm very sure that if Friday Dow Jones closing would have been below 34,200 levels, then we were surely heading towards 19,100 mark in Nifty in the coming week. But Friday closing for Dow Jones was more on a positive side, which gives us a feeling that there is still some chances of revival. We try to understand the scenario now across the globe, then discuss more on indices, and what exactly are we supposed to do in this kind of a market scenario, followed by a stock recommendation. And then, instead of a life hack, today I will give you a health related tip, because there's a one specific question which I've been getting a lot. So I'll just try to answer that and help you guys with this confusion of yours. Okay, starting with China, guys. How are the things progressing in China? Uh, it has been a successful model of growth for almost 40 years, with their GDP, ranging in 7 to 8% zone. This happened for almost 40 years. That is 4 decades. But now they're staring at something of 3% GDP, which is in itself a big setback for the second largest economy, second largest economy in the globe. Total debt, including held by government and state government, stands at 300% of China's GDP. 300%. This was less than 200% in 2012, which means last 10 years, the rate at which debt has increased for China has surpassed the rate at which the GDP has been growing, and most of their problems have started post COVID. So this is one reason why we say that the total debt which the Chinese government at local and state levels or central level is having, the exposure which they have in debt, it becomes very serious issue for them if they are not going to look for ways of reviving their economy faster than expected. Because if their GDP is not supporting the debt, then more and more defaults will happen across the nations as far as China's debt exposure is concerned. I covered this thing in my last video also with you. One big reason that China is facing this GDP issue, which I have told repeatedly in all my past videos, is the housing has mainly backfired. And the government in China, guys, they have always maintained one thing very aggressively, is that take debt, construct houses, sell them, and that is how you make money. So they have been very aggressive with raising funds. But now suddenly in last 2 to 3 years, given that they had a zero COVID policy, and once they started reviving their economy beyond this COVID thing, things have not actually turned out to be the way Chinese government expected it to be. They were still very aggressive with raising of debt for reviving the economy. A lot of construction has been done in real estate, But now the problem is that people are not willing to buy, maybe because of lack of liquidity, or maybe because of having lack of confidence in the economic revival. So people don't really want to invest in real estate. So this money which has been taken by the promoters of the companies or by the local governments, they are finding it difficult to recover that money from public, because if you are not able to sell your product, then how do you get the money to repay? So this is the biggest conflict, which the biggest challenge which they are facing at this point of time. In fact, uh, the Chinese, the Bank of China has reduced the interest rates again, which has gone down from 3.55% to 3.45%. They are continuously lowering the interest rates. These rates, I think, have gone down below the 2020 levels. That is the first time when we were hit by the COVID. That time, whatever rates were prevailing, we have gone below that rates. You can understand how contrasting Chinese economy is looking when compared to US economy, where for last 2 years the rates have been increased 10 to 11 times, and now the interest rates are in the range of 5.25 to 5.5%, whereas in China the rates have been continuously being lowered so as to encourage more consumption and investments. However, nothing seems to be working at this point of time. So last week, Monday, I think this was done, where the LPR, like they call it, the lending prime rates, have been reduced from 3.55% to 3.45%, so that they can push more sales. And this probably has been the lowest rates since June 2020. Several investment banks have downgraded China outlook for 2023. Beijing is still very, optimistic that they will be able to maintain a growth rate of 5% in GDP. But then most of the brokerage houses are of a belief that only a very, very strong and major stimulus probably can help this happen. Otherwise, chances are very less that China will be able to achieve even a 5% growth in GDP numbers. July numbers, like I told you in my last video also, is July numbers were very discouraging, and somewhere it points out that China has officially gone into a disinflationary environment. So this is the situation for China right now, and I have been continuously telling you this, whether you like it or not. But Chinese economy has to revive. It has to recover. Only then you can expect things to turn positive across the globe, because China is a big consumer, and if China does not consume, your exports are going to get hit, especially for a country like India. Yes, to a large extent our exports are going to get impacted if China does not recover. Are the steps being taken? Obviously, I have told you many a times that the steps are being taken by the government, but for the time being, we say like this, right? The light at the end of the tunnel, that does not seem to be appearing at this point of time. So we have to be very watchful at this point of time and wait for more. So obviously policies are being framed, meetings are being done aggressively. Chinese government is proactively looking into the matter, that is there. But right now you are still not getting those positive statistics which can give some kind of a kickstart to the markets again. So that is keeping markets choppy from Chinese front. US, like I told you, government is always giving you some kind of dubious information, some kind of information which keeps you puzzled up all the time, keeps you in dilemma. That is the reason why US numbers or US government's commentary makes you feel that somehow they are manipulating the markets to some extent. Friday, like I told you, was the big day for the US equity markets, because they were waiting for statements from Jerome Powell, who has come up with a very, very, what do I say, a very generalized kind of statements, where he said that a further rate hike is possible in coming months if economic activity grows at fast pace, and if they feel that because of economy being very resilient or economy growing at a faster pace, if they get a feeling that this may again cause the inflation rates to go up, in those circumstances they can still go for a rate hike. This is what Jerome Powell has told. He has told that the economy has surprised them, that even after back-to-back interest rate hikes, there has not been a slowdown in the consumption, there has not been a slowdown in the hiring. Jobs have been created at a good pace. So overall things are looking very nice in US. So obviously they don't have to push a panic button as far as recession is concerned, and that is why most of the experts are of a belief that US will be able to create a soft landing for themselves, which means they won't have to go into recession, whereas some brokerage houses are still of a belief that maybe recession at this point of time is not going to happen, but that does not mean recession will not happen at all. They are of a mindset that recession probably will happen in the coming year. That is what some brokerages are of a belief. Most of them are of a belief that US will be able to manage a soft landing for themselves. Okay. So, concluding this part, Friday meeting, Jerome Powell was very clear on one thing. If economy shows more growth, more upside from here, then they might have to go for interest rate hikes. This news was taken in a positive spirit. This is done and dusted, and after that US markets recovered a good on the upside, and closing above 34,300 levels. It even went above 34,400 levels, but closing came somewhere around 34,350 levels, which still makes you feel that okay, they are respecting that support zone of 34,200 to 300 levels, and anything above that, and one good news, and I think markets will again pick up very fast from there. That is what I feel, guys. Okay. Right now, the interest rates are at 5.4%, which is almost 22 years high interest rates, and still the economy is doing well, which is actually, I feel, a good sign for them, right? However, the very good news is June 2022, their inflation numbers were 9.1%, and this has dropped down to 3.2%. So from 9.1%, guys, the inflation numbers have come down to 3.2%, with the target inflation number for the government, for the Federal Reserve, being 2%. You're very close to that, right? So if you have managed to drop down your numbers from 9.1 to 3.2, I think there is very little for the government to worry about. Yes, you can't let loose the strings at this point of time. You want to maintain that discipline where you want to keep close monitoring and vigilance on the activities at economy level, which is actually very good. But don't scare people, right? That's always my suggestion. Don't scare people. Don't give them that ridiculous mindset that yes, we can go for more back-to-back rate hikes, because you probably don't need that, right? You've dropped down from 9 to 3%, and from 3 to 2 is a tail of an elephant, right? Most of it is done. So yes, you at the same time, I think you should be more worried about economy not being thrown into a recessionary environment. Any day soft landing with a little slightly higher than target inflation is a better scenario, rather than inflation coming below 2% and then the economy being jeopardized and thrown into a recessionary environment. So I think things are looking very good. For no reasons, I think the US markets are falling. That's my understanding. I'm a small person. Maybe I'm missing on to something, but this is what I feel, guys. There is no reason for US markets to fall. I have told you very clearly, right now, Indian markets are mimicking the US markets to some extent. And if uncertainty is there in the US markets to some extent, money will be taken out of Indian markets by FPI. That is also putting additional pressure on Indian equity markets. But if you talk to me about Indian economy, things at Indian economy level and things at US economy level, everything looks perfect to me. See, I don't try to give you fancy picture or rosy picture. For China, things are not looking good. I told you it's not looking good. For US, as far as I see the economy, to me, things look perfectly fine. They are being disciplined. The Federal Reserve is being disciplined. The government is being disciplined, which is the need of the hour. But at the same time, don't scare the shit out of people by giving them false picture that we may have to go for multiple rate hikes and all this blah, blah, blah. Because the numbers speak for themselves, right? So numbers are giving you a clear picture that the kind of rate hikes that have been done, the inflation numbers have been brought under great control. From your targeted inflation, you are just 1% above that range. And maybe even if you just tweak your policies to some extent, you will be able to bring your inflation within those targeted numbers. Be happy that you are not being thrown into recession, because coming out of recession is far more difficult than bringing your economy into some kind of control as far as inflation numbers are concerned. This is my thought process. Growth has been weak in August month, which is good for you, right? You want your economy to grow, but not at a very aggressive pace. From February till July, the growth numbers have been on a higher side, but for August, the numbers have been weak, which is actually good. The PMI index, which tracks the manufacturing and service sector, fell to a reading of 50.4 in August compared to 52 in July. The biggest drop since November 2022. Good. Everything is good, right? You don't want your economy to grow at an aggressive pace. It's happening. Your PMI numbers are saying, any kind of tracking of the service sector, the manufacturing sector, everything is giving you positive signs. Then why are you pushing the panic button? Everything is looking good. The numbers are speaking that. I don't even have to say that. I'm just interpreting the numbers. So everything is looking good. Your growth is going subdued. You don't want your economy to grow at a fast pace, which ultimately results into an inflationary environment. You are expected to go for a soft landing. So things are looking good, guys. Things are looking good. How about India? SBI Composite Leading Indicator has predicted that Q1 of FY24 GDP is expected to touch 8.3%. 8.3%. And for total year, that is FY24, growth will be higher than 6.5%. That is what SBI index is saying. Some composite leading indicator they use. CLI, they call it CLI. IMF has projected India to grow at 6.1%, but then SBI CLI is predicting India to grow at an average of 6.5%, with the first quarter growth being around 8.3%. Understood? So this is good. Then the EBITDA numbers, the EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, margins for more than 3,000 companies have improved by 274 basis points, which is now standing at 15.81% in Q1 of this year. If you compare it with Q1 of 23, it was 13.07%, and 22, if you see, guys, 22 was around 12.6%. So 12.6% EBITDA margins, then 13.07 this year. More than 3,000 companies have given a hike of EBITDA margins to 274 basis points, which is 15.81%. Things are looking very healthy, right, as far as Indian economy is concerned. Big news on economy front. Mainly the news I got is in respect of Reliance and Adani Group. For Adani Group, SEBI has submitted the report that the probe which they have done on Adani companies, some 20 to 22 points. So they're leaving 2 points where they need more time. For all the other points, they have given submitted their report to the Supreme Court. I think the hearing is on 29th. But based on some newspapers which I read, what I could interpret from the news is that they have given a clean chit. If that is the case, then Adani shares should perform well in the coming days. Anyways, if you see from the time I have told you to start looking for opportunities in buying Adani stocks, if you remember, because you generally don't remember good things which I tell you, I told you to buy Adani Enterprise at around 1900, if I remember correctly, 1900 to 2000 rupees, and it did 2800 on the upside. I told you to buy Adani Ports. I don't remember, maybe around 700 something. I told you it has gone up to 880. In fact, last week when Deloitte left the audits for Adani Ports, I still told you it can drop down to 770 levels. Believe me or not, it dropped down to 770 levels, and from there it picked up and it again went up to 850 levels. I know you won't give me credit for that, but that everything is on record, guys. Everything is on record. It's all in my videos. I told you to buy ACC at around 1770. It went up to 2100 something, 2150, I think. Okay, so I'm still bullish on Adani stocks, and if they are really given a clean sheet, I think Adani stocks should show some upside, because a lot of foreign investments have also come into Adani Group. Plus Adani Group itself has increased its stake in Adani Enterprise and Adani Ports. GQG has invested more than 25,000 crores rupees in Adani Group as a whole. Plus for Q1, Adani Group has done fantabulous numbers. Fantabulous. Q1, if you see Adani Group total profits in first quarter of 24, the profit has surged 70%. And the profit stands at 12,854 crores, which is very good. And the EBITDA has jumped 42%, which stands at 20,980 crores. 20,980 crores. So overall things are looking good at Adani level. Let's just wait for this meeting, which is going to happen on 29th, and that will give us a clear picture on how things are looking for Adani Group. Reliance, tomorrow is their AGM. It is going to be a big meeting. Let's hope so, that we get to hear something good from Mukesh Ambani. The Jio Financial shares were listed last week, but they were doing back-to-back down circuits. But Friday, a lot of buying has been done. A lot of mutual fund buying has come into the stock. And Friday, from its 5% lower circuit, it jumped and it almost hit the 5% upper circuit, but it did not manage those levels because markets were falling crazy on Friday. And then finally, it closed around 215 rupees. Reliance Retail also, Qatar Investment Authority, they have invested close to $1 billion in Reliance Retail. And that is a big investment, some 8,500 crores of investment in rupee terms, if you see. And the company is going to sell another 8 to 10% stake in Reliance Retail, and after that they're planning to bring IPO for Reliance Retail. That is what their plans are. And if you ask me about my buy recommendation, guys, today I personally would suggest to go for Geo Financial Services. Right now trading at around 215 rupees is my buy recommendation. Buy this stock, no short-term targets. If you want to keep it for a short-term target, go for 265. Buy at 215, hold for 265. But this is one company which is a very good stock with a face value of rupees 10, the second largest NBFC in India after Bajaj Finance. And this is one company which I feel can really multiply your money. So buy Geo Financial Services at around 215 rupees. Safe investment. There's nothing to worry about it. It's a good stock. And if you want, you can also do staggered buying. That is, you can buy 60 to 70% of your total quantity in first go, and then see, because the stock is a little volatile at this point of time. And your first target would be around 265, and then you can hold it for next target of around 320 to 325. This is what I see will happen very swiftly. This is what I feel. So this is one stock. If you remember last week, I gave you Team Lease at 2192 with a target of 2350. Again, I would like to take this opportunity to say that it happened on Tuesday itself. If you remember, if you invested, great. You could have made some very quick money on that. Where are we standing with the indices, guys? Dow Jones at 34,347, 248 points up. It closed on Friday. My comfort zone is 34,200 to 300. As long as we are sustaining above those levels, next week I think overall from Monday to Friday the markets should close in green. Overall, I feel I don't have any reasons to believe why markets will fall, but if it goes below 34,200 levels, guys, then I think some negativity will be created in the market, and then this till the time they are in that zone of 33,600 to 34,200. I personally would avoid fresh buying. I mean, stock specific buying you can still do, but on indices level, I'm not very confident. And if Dow Jones drops below 34,200 and it keeps dropping from those levels, then I think Nifty is heading towards 18,800 levels. 18,800 levels is what Nifty is eyeing in that case. If Monday itself, tomorrow, that is, if the Dow futures open on a green side and things are looking positive, and tomorrow evening also, if Dow Jones shows some strong rally, then I think even for Nifty, enough is enough. It will not go past below 19,200 levels, and from here again an upward journey will start, where your 19,500 levels will be the first trigger point. If it can sustain above 19,500 levels, then probably the sentiments will change again into positive from negative. That is what I feel. But at this point of time, given the information from US, given the information in India, after Chandrayaan 3 has successfully reached moon, overall sentiments about India as a country has grown multifolds, and there are some nations which have started looking India as the third best nation across the globe. And obviously not by numbers, but by the way we are growing, the way we are progressing as a country, people have become very, very positive about India as a country. So I personally don't see any reasons why we should see deep falls in the market from here on. But slight falls in the market are always something you should be prepared about. Till the time you don't see Nifty above 19,500 and Dow Jones sustaining above 34,300, 400, 34,500 levels, I would personally suggest, see, what I feel is Nifty mein 19,500 and Dow Jones mein 35,200. These two things I think should happen almost at the same time. Okay? On the upper side, 35,200 in Dow Jones and 19,500 in Nifty should happen at the same time. Once it goes past 19,500, then we are going to create a new high. That is, we are going beyond 20,000 levels, is what I feel. But if Dow Jones drops close to 33,500 odd levels, you might see Nifty at 18,800. अगर नीचे जा रहा है fresh buying, especially in FNO segment, थोड़ा avoid करिए. Try to avoid taking new positions. जितना है उतना रखिए, but don't try to add on to positions just thinking that looking it as an opportunity. Yeah, delivery based, you invest in good stocks if you have, but FNO, try to keep your exposure a little less, or don't increase your exposure, because overall sentiment will still stand to be negative. Okay, this is my final verdict. So go for Geo Financials at 215. If you are aggressive, go for 100% buying in first attempt itself. Look for first target of 265 and second target of 320 odd rupees. Both I am expecting will happen in short span of time. If you are defensive, go for staggered buying. Buy 70% or 65% of the quantity in first, go at 215. If it drops down to 175, 180 levels, then you add up another 30% to average out, 30-35%. जो भी आपने खरीदा नहीं है, जो आपका क्षमता है उतना और ऐड कर लीजिए. Okay. Now, what is this health-related tip which I want to give you? Somebody asked me yesterday, should I eat protein powder? Not just yesterday. Yesterday I got this question, but I've been asked this question many a times. That should we eat protein powder? Should we drink protein powder? Should we consume protein powder? Is it safe? If yes, which brand should I take? Now, guys, please understand one thing. You are not just supposed to eat proteins. You are supposed to eat 3 essential macronutrients. थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनिएगा. I'll try to tell you in summarized manner, but whatever I'm sharing with you is important for you. If you are concerned about your health, it's important for you. You're supposed to not just eat protein for a balanced diet. You're supposed to eat protein, you're supposed to eat carbs, you're supposed to eat fats. These are your 3 essential macronutrients. Okay. Now, if you are doing vigorous exercise, if you're hitting the gym, if you're going for sprint running, if you're going for swimming, if you're going for any kind of physical activity which exerts some level of pressure on you, you are challenged physically, we tend to tell you that you have to keep your protein intake on a higher side. Please understand. People don't emphasize much on carbs and fats, but that does not mean that carbs and fats are not required in your diet. Carbs and fats are required, but Indian diet or Indian food, staple food, which we generally prefer to eat, is more rich in carbs and fats. That too, we generally go for simple carbs rather than complex carbs. A carb which is easily digestible is called simple carb. जो आपको white rice, the white rice which you eat or the wheat which you eat, they are simple carbs. They convert into they're starchy glucose kind of a thing. They convert into energy very fast. Complex carbs take some time to digest. They take some time to convert into energy. So basically, as far as your oats are concerned, that is considered as a complex carb. So, coming back to your question, should you drink protein powders? The answer is yes, you can, you may not. Why? I am telling you. If you are eating a diet which is already protein rich, see, if you are a non-vegetarian, you will be eating fish, you will be eating chicken, you will be eating mutton, or you will be eating eggs. Whatever non-vegetarian food you eat, the protein content is higher in that. So if you are able to get enough protein from that, then it's okay. Then you don't have to drink protein powders. Ideally, I'm telling you, based on your weight in kgs, let's say if you're 100 kgs, okay, I'm taking that for the sake of simplicity. If you're weighing 100 kgs, minimum you should be eating 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight. That is the least I'm saying, least. मतलब बॉडी बिल्डिंग में तो ये चलेगा ही नहीं, but least I'm saying is you should be eating 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight. That is the least. Ideally, we suggest something around 1.5 to 1.6 grams per kg of body weight, which means for a 100 kg person, you should be eating close to 160 grams of protein. Because your diet is not giving you, if you are eating a diet which is protein rich, like you're non-vegetarian and you're eating all these foods which I told you, or if you're a vegetarian, you are eating a lot of cottage cheese, paneer, or you are eating cheese, you are eating let's say chickpeas, chana, what we call as rajma, or beans, cereals, dals. If you're eating a lot of this, then you will be able to get close to 100 to 120 grams of protein. If you're able to manage that, it's okay. आपको whatever is your body weight, you should get at least 2 grams of carbs per kg of body weight. So if you're a 100 kg person, you should at least have 120 to 125 grams of protein, close to 200 grams of carbs, and whatever is your body weight multiplied with 0.5. So at least 50 grams of good sources of fat you should get, which comes from omega 3, omega 6, omega 9. You will be having walnuts, peanuts, almonds, peanut butter you can have. These are the sources of protein which you should try to sources of fat which you should try to incorporate in your diet. ठीक है? तो if you are eating curd, if you're eating yogurt, if you're eating peanut butter, if you're eating walnuts, if you're eating almonds, if you're eating non-veg food, if you're eating chickpeas, if you're eating beans, if you're eating soya, if you're eating cottage cheese, if you're having all this in your diet, then you don't need protein powder. So you have the MyFitness app or the Healthify Me app. You try to put key in the numbers over there, whatever you are eating, and then you see, are you able to get this 2 grams of carbs per kg of body weight, 1.2 to 1.3 grams of protein per kg of body weight, and 0.5 grams of fat per kg of body weight. If you're able to get that, you don't have to drink protein powder. Why protein powder is recommended is because protein powder, 1 scoop of protein powder gives you around 24 to 25 grams of protein. So you get your pure protein from over there, and it's a whey protein. It's a milk product. You can have it. There is nothing wrong about it. Just make sure your source is good. Don't take it from your gym trainers. Avoid buying it from them. Buy from some reputed source, that is from some websites online, like the Health Cart is there. I think one is indianbodybuilding.com is there, NutraBay is there. There are different websites, guys. Health Cart is good. You can buy from Health Cart, and go for an Indian brand. Like Avatar is a good Indian brand. It comes from a listed Indian entity. I am not able to recall its name right now, but it comes from a listed Indian entity, and Avatar is a very good protein powder. You can have that. You will have no issues with it. Start with 1 scoop. The good part about protein powder is that you get 24-25 grams of protein in 1 scoop, and you hardly get any carbs or fats in it. So just to meet that protein deficiency, you can have it. Second question which people ask me is that after doing exercise, they're feeling very tired and they're feeling exhausted. They don't feel like doing anything after that. That means you are not having your food properly. Long term mein kya hota hai na, when you're not eating food properly, you see, don't be fascinated by losing weight. Mera 6 kgs weight loss ho gaya, mera 10 kgs weight loss ho gaya. No, you don't have to lose weight. You focus on losing fat. And in my last video, I made a video, right, using that gym belt. I told you, your focus should be losing fat. वेट लूज करना आपका मकसद नहीं होना चाहिए. क्या करेंगे वेट लॉस करके? वेट लॉस करने के लिए यू जस्ट स्टॉप ईटिंग फूड एंड यू लूज योर वेट. What are you losing? You're not even losing fat. Your body always wants to lose muscles first. If you don't know to use your muscles, why do you think the sports personalities or the athletes, they do a lot of resistance training? Why do they do that? Because when you do resistance training, you break the muscle fibers inside you. The muscle fibers, they break, and then the muscle develop new tissues on these fibers, the ruptured ones, so that you develop more muscles. Your body gives you muscles only when you need them. Otherwise, you will have the least amount of muscles in your body. But your body likes storing the fat. That is why you have big paunch, or you have a lot of on your back, your buttocks. You have a lot of fat because body likes storing fat. Any extra energy that your body is giving you, that you're putting into your body, that is stored in the form of fat. So you don't want to lose your muscles. उसको ensure करने के लिए you have to go and break your muscles in the gym. You have to work, you have to do lot of training. ये muscles अच्छे से grow करेंगे, recover करेंगे, इसके लिए you have to give body enough protein. Please understand, there is a process for everything. It's a science. It's a body related science. So you have to understand that. Don't get fascinated by just looking at your weight on the scale. Does not even matter. Now, if you are not having healthy diet and you're going and crucifying yourself in the gym, and if you're getting tired, it means there is lack of something in your body, right? You're not eating your food properly. You're not getting a well balanced diet. So you don't have to. You are telling me that your trainer is saying that you have to eat protein powder. Protein powder is no magic. It is not going to do anything great in your body. It is only fulfilling that protein requirement in your body. But if you're short on your carbs, understood, then also you will feel weak. If you are short on your fats, then also you won't feel good. Your hormonal imbalances will start happening if you're not eating good fats. So you have to maintain a good balance. As a thumb rule, guys, I know you are not interested in all this gyan, but as a thumb rule, I'm telling you, try to eat 2 grams of carbs per kg of body weight. Try to eat more of complex carbs. I'm not able to recall a lot of sources right now, but oats is one very good source for that. You can even have sattu, sattu powder. So you can have chana ka atta, what we call it, chana ka powder. So sattu is very good source of getting good carbs, good fiber, and good protein. So basically, you have to focus on complex carbs. Just Google search once. What are the good sources of complex carbs? I don't think so much, yeah. I eat some rice also. I eat some chapatis also, because that has been a staple food for us. So I don't think much. I have a portion control, but I do eat chapatis and rice. Okay, so if you want, you can have that also. You can have brown rice instead of white rice, less starchy and all. So keep this rule in mind: 200 grams of carbs for a 100 kg person, which means 2 grams of carbs per kg of body weight, 1.2 to 1.3 grams of protein per kg of body weight, and 0.5 grams of fat per kg of body weight. Based on this, try to for a week at least, try to put these numbers in your Healthify Me app or MyFitnessPal app, and see if you're able to achieve those numbers. If you fall short on any of them, try to increase the food intake. If you're losing weight very fast, it is a bad sign. It means you're losing more of your muscles, because fat loss does not happen at a very faster pace. You may be able to lose around 0.5 kg of weight in a week, max to max, which means in a month you can lose maximum 2 kgs of weight. That too, if it is required, you are excessively overweight, then only you will lose at that pace. Otherwise, just cutting down on your food and trying to reduce weight is of no use. You're basically becoming unhealthy. You're not doing any good to yourself. And muscle to bhul hi jaiye, muscle to banna hi nahi hai. If your protein intake is not good, your food is not good. Just to reduce some weight, if you think you're carrying excess fat in your body and you want to reduce some weight, you have to go for some calorie deficit. That calorie deficit is around 300 to 500 calories on a total in a day. That is the calorie deficit we want to create. If you are eating much less than what you need, तो जिम जाके फायदा नहीं, किसी दिन चक्कर खा के गिर जाएंगे वहीं पे, कोई फायदा नहीं है. ऐसा एक्सरसाइज क्यों करना है? बॉडी बनाने का सोचिए, पतले होने का मत सोचिए. आपको मॉडलिंग करना है क्या? रैंप वॉक करना है आपको जाके? नहीं करना है. तो पतला किस लिए होना है? व्हाई डू यू वांट टू बिकम लीन? लीन होना है, बट वी वांट इनफ मसल्स इन आवर बॉडी. We want to get, surely we want to get rid of fat in our body, excess fat, but we want to get lean with a lot of muscle. Muscles कम से कम रहने चाहिए on your chest, on your biceps, on your shoulders. You should have some muscle. For muscle, you need proper nutrition. Okay, I'll talk about your supplementation in my next video if I get an opportunity to speak about it. What supplements can be taken to match up your micronutrients. But for macros, these are the 3 things which you have to take care of. And less focus on the weighing scale, more focus on the fitting of your clothes. Your clothes will start looking good on you if you are losing fat from the right places and if you're having some muscles in your body. Hope you like it, guys. Cheers. Bye bye. God bless all of you. Thank you.